This is a Glendale Library Arts and Culture program created for and featuring teens, edited and hosted by the teen library staff.
Hi everyone, this is Melissa
and Desiree.
Welcome to the guest episode of G.E.N Talks.
Today's guest is a stand-up comedian, a recent grad to the Sign Graphics program at L.A. Trade Tech, and a library assistant at Brand Library and Arts Center. He also is the co-host of a podcast called L.A.Meekly, which is a monthly comedy history podcast that has covered such subjects as the L.A. River, haunted houses, pre-Dodger baseball, and a hot dog stands native to L.A.
So grab a snack and drink, and let's welcome Greg to the G.E.N Talks.
Hey.
So thank you so much, Greg, for taking your time out of your day to talk to us. So we have a lot to discuss.
Thanks for having me.
So let's kick off this interview with talking about your podcast, L.A.Meekly. Can you describe the podcast to the viewers at home?
Sure. It's a monthly podcast. Me and my best friend will pick a subject, like a really broad subject. We'll talk about like freeways or the river or the history of like hot dogs in LA, and we'll sort of break up the subject. There's a lot of history there. We will so I'll do my side of it. I might do like famous hot dog stands, and he might do, cooks or chefs or whatever, or we'll pick like 3 and 3. And then our podcast is basically I tell him what I've researched, he tells me, and we just kind of riff around and play. And we've done that for 7 years now. We're on episode 80, just came out.
Oh,
Wow. I actually started listening to your podcast.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I was listening to a Christmas one.
Okay, the creepy one.
Yeah, the creepy ones.
Every our scary episodes are creepy Christmas, haunted Hanukkah, and we do them every year. And done, I think 7 now. And they're a lot of fun. They're maybe my favorite ones to do. They have the least amount of facts out there because it's all ghosts and aliens and stuff.
Yeah.
So like you're going through forums to do research, and you're like, oh, I need like a definitive, but there's no definitive. Like there's definitively a ghost here. Like there's not gonna. So a lot of speculation, but it's a lot of fun to talk about. Yeah.
Okay, so when and why did you start the podcast?
We started in September of 2013. We were both out of college. We met in college. I was like a year ahead of him. When he was done with college, him and I were kind of just floating around for a while, and we decided we wanted to work on stuff together. Like we, best friends, so we wanted to finally like do projects together. So we started stand-up comedy together, and then we did the podcast almost like the same time, like maybe a month apart. I don't remember why we wanted to do it though. He listens to there's a podcast that we kind of model ourselves after in New York called the Bowery Boys, and they do what we do for New York, and we thought that there wasn't one in LA, and LA has a weird thing because everyone's always saying LA has no history, and we as two people from LA, we know that that's not true. So we decided we wanted to start that. And we just started doing research, and our first episode was about the LA public library system, and we just kind of, went from there and see how long we could do it for, and we're here now.
How long does it take you to gather all the facts and all that stuff?
We usually take the first week of the month off, and then the last 3 weeks we're doing everything. So I take a lot longer than he does to research. He can read a book like real quick and have it, and he'll have his notes by maybe like the 15th of the month, and if we're recording on let's say like the 28th, I'll have everything done the 27th. Like I'll just kind of read every article that I can. So it takes maybe about like 2 to 3 weeks to read and gather our research and stuff, and then to write the report is usually like a really stressful weekend for me.
Like, I guess, like, where do you get your information from? Like, do you have any like top 5 or something like websites?
Right. I want to say my top choice for research is the ProQuest searches on the library databases, because they'll have like an LA Times. They have the LA Times search for the newspaper database from 1884 to 1980 something or something along those lines. And if you do a good enough search, you can find really specific information. So that's my favorite. And then just like library books are really helpful. I have a giant Los Angeles encyclopedia from the 80s, so it's incredibly outdated, but it's a lot of really good and then like a lot of the internet is. I'm gonna give you the tip. The internet's really helpful for research.
I didn't know that.
Write this down. I don't want you to forget it. Okay,
I
Google,
will.
hard to spell.
I'll write like a note next to you that says internet.
Internet saves lives.
Yes. That will.
It's gonna be the little paperclip from Microsoft Word. It's gonna pop up. It's like, have you heard of the internet? Like KCET has really great articles and stuff. LAist, LA Times, just really broad searches. And once you find out more information, you can kind of dig in harder.
And then how do you? Sorry.
It's okay. I was just gonna ramble some more and just say words till stop.
How do you guys pick the topics you're gonna discuss that month? Is there like a specific, I don't know, thing that you guys look at?
Not really. We have like I want to say a master list, but it's just like a piece of paper with a bunch of topics on it. We know that so October we want to do a spooky thing, but it can't be the scary thing. So it has to be like Halloween related. So we'll do like candy, or we'll do, Universal Monsters or something. And then November, we usually do something rooted in like pre-American LA. And then December was our scary episode. That's the only month of the year that is like kind of set. Like we have to do these things. But the rest of the month, it's just kind of like, well, what do you feel like doing? Like we'll pick a really heavy topic. We did the like the riots and the uprising a couple months ago, and then the next month we wanted to kind of go easy. And every once in a while we'll throw in an episode that's just kind of him and I talking about something that we think about. Like sometimes we'll just, what movies in LA do you want to talk about, and we'll just go from there. So it's kind of like whatever we did last month, we want to probably do the opposite of the next month, just like mood wise.
So how do you contact someone that you think is perfect for your podcast?
Well, we don't do a lot of interview stuff. We have what we call field trips. And so sometimes we'll go somewhere really important and we'll talk to somebody. Sometimes, a lot of times, they'll reach out to us about a book they've written or a place that they would like to give us a tour of. But other times, honestly, social media has helped so much because nobody really responds to emails. But if I hit somebody up on Instagram or Facebook, I get responses pretty quickly and more often than email. And we're very, we'll send them what our podcast is about. And we'll say how much we want to go to Bull Exposure or something fun, or can you please let us in this building that's abandoned? And sometimes they will let us, and sometimes they won't. And if they don't let us, they don't never write a nasty email about us or anything, which is really bad. They write a really nasty email. They don't.
Wait, have you guys been to like abandoned places?
No, but I really want to. Along the river in Lincoln Heights, there's an old jail that's abandoned, the old Lincoln Heights jail, and it's supposedly haunted, and it's really creepy looking and beautiful, and I want to get in so bad, but it's against the law, and I'm not going to break the law for the podcast. But I'm really hoping one day, just like, here's my outpouring of love for abandoned places and escorts me in with legally.
Yeah, no, because like I've seen a lot of YouTubers, they go to abandoned places, but they do it like not legally, obviously, and then it's like shh, don't tell anyone we're doing this, but we're gonna show it to our 1 million subscribers, and it's like, okay.
I don't know how you're not being arrested right now as you film it, but okay.
But do you have a favorite episode that you have recorded?
Oh boy, I'm not a fan of my own voice, so it's really hard to listen back sometimes. I always go back to we did an episode, I've already brought it up, the episode about hot dogs in LA. And I think that's when we kind of hit a stride where we started having a lot of fun talk, because it wasn't like a heavy subject or anything, and we both eat a lot of food. I love hot dogs a lot, so it was easy for me to talk. I had a lot of love for hot dogs, and I didn't realize until I recorded that episode. But we did one on authors not too long ago, like pulp writers, and that was a lot of fun research, because I did Ray Bradbury and Lee Brackett, who are two sci-fi writers from Lee Brackett's from like the 40s, 50s, and I always interested in her, and I never really, like, sometimes doing an episode will give me an excuse to look into somebody that I was curious about, but never had like the motivation to go further with. So like episodes like that always pop up, and I think that's a really good one.
Do you have what's your favorite hot dog place? Since you're a big hot dog enthusiast.
There's a place in North Hollywood called Vicious Dogs, and I love it. I'm really big fan of it. It's on Lancashire. But I also like, what?
I was gonna say we'll like put something
Oh, thank you.
like the name of it. Yeah.
Okay.
We'll just
Yeah, they should.
all the facts right next to you.
The calorie count right next to me. Please don't go for. But I'm like simple. Like I like Dodger dogs a lot. I like Costco hot dogs are really good, and they give you like $1.50 and you get a Coke. That's put that information up. Go to Costco.
Yeah.
There's a really great chili dog place in, I think it was Inglewood, that just closed. Arch Chili Dog. I you can't send anyone there, but I was really sad about it. But I found out about it doing research, and I was like, I'd go there maybe. I went there like 3 times before it closed, but I really liked it. I'm really, really sad that it's gone now. Picture of me in it. That's how excited I was to be there. I mean, my dad take a picture of me.
So, are you a big fan of like Tommy's? Because I'm not a big fan of Tommy's, but
You're not a big fan of Tommy's?
no, it's too greasy.
That's the appeal.
Yeah, I know that's the appeal, and that's why people go, but like, it's not the appeal for me.
I've heard a lot of stories. This has never happened to me, but I hear a lot of stories about people who take other people to Tommy's who've never been, and when they're ordering, they're like, "Oh yeah, don't hold the chili," and everyone reacts. Like people in line, people taking the money, people cooking. Everyone's like, "What do you? That's why you come here, is for the chili. Why would you not get chili?"
That would be
very
really,
greasy.
I'd be like very light chili, like very light.
Yeah.
Like
Can you
it can't be dripping off.
No.
Yeah, no.
That's okay. I made a movement with my hands, like a no movement, but I didn't mean that. Sorry. That's very. Can you make my patty smell like it's been near chili, but don't put any chili on it?
Exactly. Like I just want to say it's from Tommy's, but you can't tell it's from Tommy's.
Exactly. It's secret Tommy's. Don't tell anybody. Yeah.
Exactly. Except like the people watching.
Yeah.
They will know you and Desiree.
Yeah. And we're secretly judging you a little bit.
Yeah. I know. I can tell. I'm looking at both of you guys, and you're like, like I'm just gonna let her keep talking. I went like way off topic, and then I was like, "Where is it?
This is my podcast, by the way. Is we'll talk about something, and then we'll find ourselves 3 tangents down the line, and like I don't remember what sentence we were on. We're gonna have to start from the beginning. Yeah.
I guess going back to, you mentioned stand-up comedy. Have you always wanted to do comedy? Has comedy been a part of your life since you were like little?
Funny stuff has been. I was kind of obsessed with things that were funny. Like I watched a lot of The Simpsons. I find that now that it's on Disney Plus and my girlfriend's watching it, I'm like, how old was I when I started watching this adult show? Like I have no idea. I was like, I think that I was in elementary school, which means I was like 9, reciting this joke about Australia, and that's season like 6, and I'm like, oh, I watched a lot of this, maybe inappropriate show. I saw my friend do comedy when I was stand-up when I was like 19, and that's when it dawned on me, like, oh, did I always want to do this? Because I am watching my friend, and I think that I'd be really good at it. And it still took another 9 years for me to try it because I was so nervous about public speaking. And I was trying to write jokes for him, and he was like, no, go up there. But I did eventually. But yeah, I guess I always wanted, I wanted to be funny. I know that much, but stand-up was not a thing I was like, had my target set on.
Yeah.
So what were where have you done stand-up comedy? Like, what are some of the places that you've done stand-up comedy?
Nowhere big. Probably the biggest show was Flappers in Burbank, which is not that big. If they hear me say that, I'll never go back again. But like the Lyric Hyperion in Los Feliz is a pretty nice theater right now, and I performed there a couple times, and a lot of friends shows at different bars and little venues in like Hollywood. Yeah, nowhere too big, but I've been consistently booked for the last like couple of years. I'm pretty happy.
That's cool.
So are you a self-taught comedian, or did you take classes, or like? Yeah,
I was self-taught. I would make fun of classes a lot. Then I would meet people who started and weren't good and took a class and got way better. And now I'm like, oh, maybe classes are good. I don't know. I think that they don't teach you how to be funny. They teach you technique of public speaking, and that's so essential. Because I learned on my own. And I want to say like the first 4 years of comedy, I was just learning, and you have to learn in front of everybody, and that's really hard, and that's enough to scare people away. Yeah. So yeah, I learned from going to shows all the time and kind of learning like the etiquette and what works and what doesn't. Yeah, the only thing I probably taught myself in my life was that.
So going back to L.A.Meekly, has COVID affected the podcast in any way?
Yeah, we would meet. There's a certain school that in the valley that leaves its door open, and we would go in there to record. And that was our kind of recording booth because we don't really have a place where we can record. There's no sound, so we would use that school often. And now because of COVID, the first COVID episode we recorded in a park, and my co-host Daniel, I joke with him, but he's kind of obsessed with sound quality. Like he needs it to be perfectly, like no cars in the background, no birds, no echoes. Like he doesn't like any of that. He's obsessive about that. And so recording in a park, it was difficult. There were people walking up to us, like the third week of quarantine, and like, what's this? And we had to like push them away. And there's dogs running everywhere. Since then, though, I think we've done like 4 episodes, and we record in his parking spaces of his apartment, about like a parking space in between, and that's way more comfortable. And I don't know how to tell him that I don't ever want to go back to that school to record, because I show up in my truck and I record in a chair in the bed of my truck with no shoes on, and I'm so comfortable, and it's half the distance. So that's put a damper on things. We had like a show too that we were like really excited for, the Comedy Central stage in like South Hollywood. We were going to perform there in April, and then we had to call that off. So like little things, we had built up a good momentum for the year, and then we had to kind of call it.
I guess like one more question too, like how about the podcast is like, how do you guys like keep the consistency? You know what I mean? Because I think like for me, like I've done YouTube, and I think like with my group of friends, we lack that consistency. So I guess like, yeah, this is probably like a selfish question. It's more like, tell me your tips. But how do you keep that consistency and like that momentum, even with like things happening in your lives and like, the pandemic and all that stuff?
More than me, Daniel is a real stickler for work and schedules, and he's the kind of person that, like, I said we're gonna meet on the 3rd, and we're meeting on the 3rd, and it's gonna be released on the 5th, and that kind of like can be annoying. Not calling him annoying or anything, but it's like that work ethic is like so essential to like building, because we've gotten so much better, and if we had kind of lagged at the beginning, we never would have found out how good we could get. So like, just setting a date, like, when we first started, maybe the first year, it was like, well, we'll release an episode every month, but it was kind of like the 4th or the 19th, and that itself was like too much for us to it gave us too much room to be lazy. So we said like the 1st of the month, no matter what, it comes out. Like no matter what, every day we post on Instagram. Even if we don't like the post, we still post every day. Like making it your job sounds not fun at all, but that's the only way that you get good at anything, is making the thing your job that no one's going to pay you for 10 years. Yeah, really boring answer. Sorry.
No.
Yeah,
we're like absorbing everything you're saying.
Yeah. Did you enjoy this episode? If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Glendale Library Arts and Culture channel.
Tune in every Friday at 4:30 for Teen Gen Talks. And if you would like to contact us and be part of the Teen Gen Talks, please email us at teengentalks@glendaleca.gov. Thank you. See you next episode.
Bye.
Bye.